Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to What You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at a great one, the Jaeger-LeCoultre Grande Reverso GMT, 46.5 millimeters lug to lug by 29 millimeters wide in stainless steel. This is part of the modern generation of complicated reversos that really grew out of the 70th anniversary reverso platform that was designed in 2003 to mark kind of the coming of age of the reverso as JLC's modern icon, but it was also a key embodiment of the reverso reborn as a complications platform. Now I'm going to give away a little bit of the secret here. Okay, spoiler alert, I might have broken up some of the suspense by showing you the case back, but the reality is, although originally designed in 1931 as a reversible watch with a steel backing to protect it from the mallet blows of polo players, that's right, the Reverso was originally a sports watch. In the modern era, we've got sports watches that you can whack around. We call those Panerai. The Reverso has become a double-sided platform for additional complications, the icon of JLC, and a big part of that has involved expanding the case size to fit more complications and to look more contemporary and grow with the times. And for those who bemoan the swelling of classic references, remember this. The key to the Reverso is not its size, it's its ratio. It's that golden ratio rectangle of the center case portion. That is what gives the Reverso its more or less mathematically defined elemental appeal to the human eye. And the Reverso Grande GMT keeps it beautifully intact. On the wrist, I'm going to let you in on a secret. It actually wears a lot smaller than its size suggests, because although it is rated as 46.5 millimeters, and that might sound huge, the reality is that's the given lug-to-lug measurement. So, for instance, something like a, let's say, Rolex Yachtmaster 2 or a Rolex Sea Dweller Deep Sea, you're going to be looking at about 53, 54 millimeters lug-to-lug. On something like a Panerai Luminor in a 44 millimeter case, you're going to be looking at solidly over 50 millimeters lug to lug. Whereas on this Reverso, as big as it is, as much presence and character as it has, it's really under 47 millimeters lug to lug. Downright compact and comparable even to some 40 millimeter Rolex cases of the current era. So this watch fits really well, but it does have an individualistic fit. Although shockingly compact, the fact that it is rectangular and the fact that the lugs are drilled relatively high for the spring bars means that Reversos really are a try-first type of watch. And that's great because at WhatYouWant.com we have a unique 7-day, no-obligation trial period for all of the watches we sell. So if you want to get a sense of the Reverso on your wrist, you don't have to listen to me repeat for the, I think now we're up to the 460th time, that my wrist is 6.3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. You can try for yourself. I do want to show you what I mean when I say that the watch is drilled relatively high. You can see just how much space there is below the drilling for the spring pins, so the strap does fit relatively high on the lugs. What it does is it creates a watch that really wears like nothing else, but it wears beautifully. As you can see, that Reverso case with its vertical emphasis, but its horizontal carved gadroons, that's what these grooves are known as, the gadroons. It's still the image of Art Deco elegance and refinement, perfect from day one. The first examples in 1931 are recognizably Reversos to the customers of today, and if the men of 1931 could have seen this watch, they would have recognized this as a Reverso. I'm also going to do a wrist shot of the reverse dial, just so you get a sense of how this watch can be transformed simply by flipping it. Now, rather than silvered elegance, you have the power, you have the gravitas of that black dial. Lacquered, gloss, beautiful, it's got a completely different impact, and if you wanted to put this watch on a black strap, all of a sudden it's incredibly sporty. All of a sudden you've got something that you can easily wear with short sleeves in informal situations. So not only do you have two sides, each with unique complications, but you've got a watch that really does shift gears, and that's the beauty of the Reverso reversible case in the modern era. Plenty of options, including instant transformation. Now I do want to talk a little bit about this GMT dial before we get back to the silvered guillot-shade main dial. This is the side that features the watch's signature complication, the second time zone, and there's a lot going on here, so let's just move counterclockwise. Starting right here, you can see the power reserve. 8 days. This is based on the engineering for that famous 70th anniversary Reverso, the Septantième of 2002. It actually arrived 1 year late. It should have been 2001 to be the 70th anniversary. Problem was it was a little bit more complex than they imagined, and the 8-day power reserve, including the indicator for that system, was one of the reasons why. And yet it only takes 50 cranks to turn it from 0 days of power reserve to 8. So it's not like the Blancpain 50 Fathoms where for 5 days you have to turn the crown 108 times. 50 and you're topped off for a week, plus 1 day. Now moving around, you can see that this side does feature illuminated sword hands, so you can actually read these numerals and you can read the hands at night, and that seems fitting for a travel watch. You never know what it's going to be like in low light conditions if you're traveling first class. So the bottom line is you want to be able to read your watch in low light without turning on the light and being rude. So loomed on this side, the watch is easily legible with the combination of white printing and white numerals and white hands on a black background. Moving down, you can see that there is an offset from GMT, 0 to 12 hours plus, 0 to 12 hours minus, and as you offset this watch 1 hour back or 1 hour forward, that GMT plus or minus hand jumps in coordination, so that all you really need to do is set the known GMT plus or minus designation of the time zone to which you're traveling, and the reference time dial corrects accordingly. There's also a 24-hour day and night indicator dial there, so you know if you're looking at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., and you can see likewise that hand jumps in sequence with the other two. So 4 distinct displays right here, a total of 5 hands. You turn the watch over and all of a sudden you're looking at an entirely different character, an entirely different set of indications. A Grande Date double digit. It's a little known fact that JLC actually designed the Grande Date that became an icon of a Longa Unzuna. JLC gave Longa its old double date indication, and they developed a new, more sophisticated one in its place. So that's what you're getting here. Small seconds right here at 4:30. You're also looking at a unique day-night indicator up here at about 2 o'clock. So you do have day-night indications, AM-PM distinction for both sides of the watch, as well as your classical civil time, your local time on the blued broadsword hands at center. Now there is a different finishing to this dial, silvered with 2 separate guilloche patterns. You have this sort of rose engine turned, repeating wave striation across the center, running horizontally, and then you have a sort of dotted I don't even know how I would like to describe this, but it's sort of an incremental grooved cut that runs around the circumference of the dial, outboard of the hour track. Quite beautiful, really adds an element of distinction in the transition from the silver flat of the dial itself to the edge of the case. So if you want to count right here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 separate indications on this watch. This is the JLC caliber 878, and if this watch at times leaves me speechless, it's because there's just so much to describe, so much to relate. The experience of this watch in the hand, in person, quite honestly, is an evolving journey of understanding, because there is just so much to unpack in terms of features, artistic and technical and historical, with a Reverso, especially this Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Grande GMT. So let's talk a little bit about that caliber 878. You already know that it's a manufacturer in-house movement, originally developed in part for the $94,000 70th anniversary Reverso Septantième. That platform became the basis for a whole family of Grande Reverso complicated movements, including this 878. This watch has over 270 parts, and the entire movement is only about 5 millimeters thick, despite having all of those readouts we just related. The watch has the day-night indicator on both sides. It has an 8-day power reserve indication for the 8-day power reserve. It's subject to the master 1000 hours control. You can see the master control crest blazoned on the back of this watch. This watch is subject to the same 40-plus day testing in multiple positions, multiple temperatures, in dynamic conditions, and fully cased up, unlike COSC Swiss chronometers. This is a phenomenal piece of work. Again, over 270 pieces, 35 jewels. Only JLC really performs watchmaking on this scale to this standard. The fact that they have several of these 8-day movements in the line and that it has spawned an entire series of complicated reversos is mind-boggling. But then again, when you have a back catalog of over 1,400 original movements, you can do things like that. Now this watch is 3 ATM water resistant, like all Reversos of the standard line since 1984, the minute repeater accepted. So you don't want to get this one wet, but in every other respect, aesthetically, mechanically, whether you're staying in place or traveling, this watch has a lot going for it. It offers a lot of versatility. So for everything except water play and horseplay, this Reverso is your go-to watch. See this Jaeger-LeCoultre Grande Reverso GMT on our website, Watch You On, and I'm confident if you're into JLC, if you're into history, if you love the Reverso and you love complications, this Grande Reverso GMT will be the watch you want.